Hey everyone, welcome back. This explainer was put together by Forge College, and I gotta say, I am absolutely thrilled to be hanging out with you today. So look, you survived the refine and peer review lesson. You hammered out the dents, and hopefully no fingers were smashed in the process, right? Well, today we finally arrive at the natural culmination of all your hard work in this module. I want you to think of today's task as your ultimate patent filing, the final proof of your understanding of the Bitcoin white paper. We're going to take all your notes, your drafts, your feedback, and we're going to lock them all together into one brilliant assessment-ready machine. All right, let's take a quick look at the blueprint for today's explainer. We'll start with Section 1, the final assembly. Then Section 2, the blueprint criteria. Section 3, step-by-step construction. Section 4, quality assurance testing. And finally, Section 5, ready to ship. Let's dive right in. Section 1, the final assembly. Gathering your milled parts. Over the course of this module, you haven't just been passively reading. You've been manufacturing some really concrete outputs. You built an annotated outline, you machined a list of technical highlights, you cast a full first draft, and you forged a solid revision log based on your peer feedback. Now I want you to visualize all of those documents as freshly machined gears, springs, and levers, just sitting there on your workbench, polished and completely ready to go. And honestly, this quote perfectly sums up where we are. You already did the hard work, now we're just snapping the pieces together. If the idea of submitting a final 900 to 1,400 word academic summary sounds a bit intimidating, just take a deep breath. You aren't writing this from scratch today. There's literally no heavy lifting, no melting down new steel. We are just tightening the bolts. Okay, moving right along to Section 2, the blueprint criteria, specifications for a working machine.
So every working machine has exact specifications it needs to meet to function correctly, right? And your summary is absolutely no different. The entire core of your engine relies on how two very specific pieces interlock, the problem and the solution. For your problem paragraph, in just a tight 50 to 120 words, you need to clearly name the core challenges. We're talking about double spending, the whole issue of trust, and the fundamental necessity of a time-stamped ledger. Then, for your solution overview, you've got 150 to 300 words to explicitly map Satoshi's proposed solution right back to those exact problems. You can't just list off cool features here. You actually have to explain how proof of work and network propagation solve those double spending and trust issues without relying on a central authority. Think about it like this. If the problem is the lock, your solution overview absolutely must be the key.
Now, beyond the problem and solution, your blueprint requires short, highly accurate descriptions of exactly 5 technical components. 5. No more, no less. You need to define Merkle trees, timestamping, proof of work, block headers, and incentive mechanisms. And guys, here's the real secret to making this work for a beginner audience. Each of these 5 components must be paired with a clear, real-world analogy. Don't just hit us with the raw math. Give us the metaphor that makes the math actually make sense. Because let's face it, no one wants to read a dry, boring manual. Next up, we have a very, very specific requirement, the mining role. Now, the crucial point to remember here is that mining cannot be treated as just some minor implementation detail. It's way too important for that. Your summary needs a dedicated paragraph explaining mining as the critical mechanism that secures the entire network. You need to explain exactly how producing blocks and securing the chain via proof of work perfectly aligns participant behavior through block rewards and transaction fees. It is literally the engine that powers this whole trustless system. Which brings us to Section 3, step-by-step construction, the assembly line. All right, so we know our parts, we know our specs. It's time to hit the assembly line and put these carefully crafted parts together in a highly logical sequence. Here are your 5 exact steps for the build. Step 1, lay out your inputs. Have your outline, your draft, and your revision log open and ready to pull from. Step 2, compose those interlocking problem and solution sections we just talked about. Step 3, build out your 5 technical components and that super crucial mining role paragraph. Step 4, add your citations and your revision appendix. And finally, Step 5, format, proofread, and export the whole shebang. As a quick side note here, whether you're taking this specific course or maybe exploring other fantastic learning programs out there, this structured step-by-step methodology is exactly how you master complex technical writing without, completely pulling your hair out. And taking a look at this word breakdown brilliantly illustrates the balance of your machine. I want you to think of your word count as a literal schematic. Budgeting your words ensures that no single component overwhelms your final build. For example, if you set aside 300 to 500 words for your technical components, it gives them plenty of room to breathe, right? But then keeping the problem paragraph tight at just 50 to 120 words ensures it stays super concise and punchy.
Following a strict word budget like this basically guarantees your entire submission stays perfectly within the target length. Moving on to Section 4, Quality Assurance Testing. Stress testing the components. Okay, so your summary is assembled. It looks great. But before we just ship it out the door, we really need to stress test your components. We have to ensure your newly assembled invention won't just break down the second your instructor runs it through the assessment rubric. So there are exactly 6 strict checkpoint tests you must systematically run and pass before your blueprint is cleared for shipping. Let's look at that checklist. All right, here is your mechanical checklist. Test 1 is actually my absolute favorite, problem clarity. You need to pass what I call the non-expert paraphrase test. Grab a friend who knows absolutely nothing about Bitcoin. We all have one, right? Read them your problem paragraph, and if they can't explain it back to you in one simple sentence, you need to rewrite it without the jargon. Test 2 ensures you have at least 3 explicit connections between your solution and your problem. Test 3 checks your technical accuracy and those all-important analogies. Test 4 guarantees your mining role paragraph actually covers all 3 bases: production, security, and incentives. Test 5 verifies your citations trace clearly back to the white paper and your previous artifacts. And Test 6 is just your final pass against the project rubric. Seriously, do not skip these, unless for some reason you really enjoy reassembling things from scratch. And finally, Section 5, Ready to Ship, Exporting the Invention. Once you pass all 6 of those quality assurance gates, it's just a matter of handling the final administrative details to export your invention. Make sure you follow the naming conventions perfectly, export it as a PDF or Markdown file as required. And please, please do not forget your cover page and your 100 to 200 word revision appendix. That appendix is absolutely crucial. It is the hard evidence of your iterative improvement. It proves to your instructor that you didn't just ignore your peer feedback, but that you actually took it and used it to fine-tune your machine. And with that, your capstone is completely finished. Huge congratulations, inventors. You have successfully synthesized the entire Bitcoin white paper into a functional, readable, and highly accurate summary. But before I let you go today, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on. Your blueprint is complete, yes? But what rules govern this machine when it actually runs out there in the wild? Like, how do all these independent miners actually agree on the state of the ledger without a boss telling them what to do? That fascinating question is exactly what we are going to explore in our next topic, Nakamoto consensus. And your newly minted summary is going to serve as the absolute perfect launchpad for that deeper dive. I highly encourage you to head over to forge.college to explore more about this subject, enroll in some deeper Web3 related topics, and join our amazing community of learners. You've built a truly beautiful machine today. Be incredibly proud of it. This explainer was made by Forge College. I will see you in the next one.